Hey, Kathy.
How are you?
Doing well. I'm very excited for what we are starting today, and we're going to
Yeah.
just jump right into it. Alberta is holding a referendum in October, and this is something that hasn't been super common in the past in our
hmm
province. And so, as the Alberta Women for Independence, we are a third party advertiser.
Yeah.
Um, we are allowed to speak to and promote this referendum and our thoughts and ideas on it. And what Albertans need to understand is that we are going to have 10 different questions
hmm
to vote on in October. And some of these questions are not a simple, like, oh, yes, no type of thing. One of them is actually has like a multiple choice, like option A, option B.
That's right.
But our thought in doing these short videos is that we want to address every single question and kind of
hmm
have a short discussion about it so that when folks go to the voting booth, it's not the first time that they've heard about the questions or seen the questions or been able to think about the questions. Hopefully, they've done all three before they go in to vote. And it's not that they're standing there trying to figure out what does this paragraph mean and what are the implications of it. So that's
Yeah.
a quick intro to this video. This is our very first video, and we are going to be discussing question one
Yeah.
on the referendum.
Question one on the referendum. Exactly. And as I've been chatting with people, my running joke is I thought that the Apostle Paul had the crown on run-on sentences until our government decided to take that up a notch. It's crazy. When we first started to run through these questions, I thought, you know what, this is on purpose because confused minds can't typically make a decision. And when you can't
Mm,
make a decision, you'll just check no because you don't know what
yeah.
yes means. And I think that's maybe a little bit of what's going on around here. I think. And so it's really important to walk people through what these questions are. And so exactly as you said, we'll do a video for every single one. So this one is question one, and then we'll end with, of course, the question to have a question, basically. We'll end with
Mm-hmm.
that one. So this first one that we're going to go through today is, do you support the government of Alberta taking increased control over immigration for the purposes of decreasing immigration to more sustainable levels, prioritizing economic migration, and giving Albertans first priority on new employment opportunities? Yes or no? Right?
So what does that mean, right? Like what does that mean taking increased control over immigration? Does that mean full control? Some say, a lot of say?
I don't know. I don't know. And immigration for what purposes, right? Like prioritizing economic migration and giving Albertans first priority on new employment opportunities. But who determines what that economic migration is? Because we have a lot of small businesses who say, oh, well, I need temporary foreign workers because nobody else around here wants to work, which is not true.
Mm-hmm.
It's not true at all. What it is that those temporary foreign workers are heavily subsidized by the federal government. And so these businesses don't have to pay the full amount of what their wages are because the federal government is subsidizing it through our tax dollars. But who determines what the economic migration is? Like what kind of jobs are we talking about here?
Well, and you know what, Kathy, like I do have some experience in this. Let me see. 2008, I bought a business in 2008, 2010, bought a business in Lethbridge,
Mm-hmm.
a very niche business, very specialized business. It was an agricultural testing lab. And we found that as we were kind of upgrading the processes and the equipment, we found that there were some pieces of equipment that we really wanted to bring into our practice as a lab.
Mm-hmm.
But there weren't a lot of people in the area that were trained specifically to that equipment. And like we brought one guy in from Ontario to train our employees on one piece of equipment. Uh, he was the closest person we could find that
Mhm.
was specialized in that particular piece of equipment. We actually looked at the temporary foreign workers program because we were getting emails from folks outside of the country who did specialize in this equipment and were trained in it. And so now this was back in 2010, 2011, 2012 when we were looking into this. It was difficult to hire a temporary foreign worker. There was a
Mhm.
real process that you had to go through. You had to prove that you had posted this job listing in multiple areas. If I remember correctly, it was like over a few provinces, like you had to prove that you had really tried and done your due diligence to find a Canadian to fit this position. And it was to the point where I was like, oh, I don't even know if it's worth it
Yeah.
to jump through these hoops to be able to get an employee from Germany to come over, or that type of thing. And eventually we just kind of abandoned the idea. But that was the whole thing with the temporary foreign worker process, was that it wasn't supposed to be an easy fix. It was not supposed to be a way to cheap labor. It was like prioritizing economic migration. It was bringing people in who had skills
Yeah.
where there was a need. And that was why, that was part of why Canada used to be seen as having the gold standard for
Yeah.
their immigration program, because it did prioritize economic migration in
Mhm.
that when these people came over, they already had a job. They were already instantly able to contribute to Canadian society, to the
Mhm.
economy,
Mhm.
um, or there were other programs where they were being sponsored. We know in Northern Alberta with the Ukrainian community, oftentimes they would sponsor, a church would sponsor a family to come over and
Right.
to be a part of their community. They would look after them, help them integrate into the Canadian society, help them find jobs, all of that, right? So that was what it used to be compared to what we have now. So maybe that's something that we have to remember as we look at this question. Is this question asking, do we want to go back to that?
Right. And to sustainable levels where where all of us are not carrying the burden of supporting too many people. We can't, right? Our infrastructure is crumbling underneath
Mm.
the weight of it. And so I think when people read this, they might, like, we're typically very welcoming folks
Oh,
here in
yes.
Alberta. We are more than happy. I mean, especially some of these countries, man, bring your food, please, because it's good. Like nobody is against people coming here for any reason, for that matter, as long as it's a legal reason.
Right.
What we're having a problem with is how do we make sure that everything remains sustainable? And right now it isn't. And when there's too many people in the boat eventually can't handle the weight of it and everybody goes down. And we don't want to see that. It makes no
Mhm.
sense to bring people here who have these amazing ideas of all the things that they're going to be accomplishing and be able to do that they couldn't do back in the country that they came from, only to be completely duped once they
Right.
get here and find out, oh my gosh, there's not any room in any of the schools. The hospitals are overrun. All of the infrastructure, the potholes around here are crazy because there's nobody, there's just not enough resources to manage all of these things that are taking place because there's a bigger population. We're not doing
Right.
these folks any favors either at all. We just
Oh,
lied to them and said, oh, come here where everything is great. It's the land of milk and honey, except that it isn't. Like,
yeah.
right? And then you get that fighting amongst those of us that are here and those who are coming, which perhaps is on purpose. Is let's
Well,
create some friction. I don't know, but I do know that what they're doing right now, and it's the federal government that's doing it. Let's be clear about that.
mhm.
It can't stay because we can't help anybody this way.
Well, and let's also point out, you mentioned the federal government, but that Quebec has had various controls on immigration as to who can immigrate directly into Quebec for a very long time.
Yeah.
And
You have to
so
go through school to stay there. You have to go. This is what Ben Trudeau is teaching us. In Quebec, you have to go through literally school that says, this is Quebec, these are our values, this is how you're going to live. You either agree or disagree by the time you're at the end of it. And if you disagree, you get a one-way ticket out to Ontario.
oh, well, there you go. So this is, for folks that might be looking at it going, well, they might say, oh, well, you're against immigration or you're racist or whatever. No, 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 no. Like Quebec has been doing this for a very long time. It's about sustainability. It's about making sure that those who come here are able to succeed.
Yes.
And to have a wonderful experience. And it's not about we're providing cheap labor for Tim Hortons. Like, let's be honest.
Well, exactly. And it's making sure that our kids can have their first job.
Right. So on this question, Kathy, I would vote yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, we need to do that. Now, very briefly, why? You have heard from some people that they don't care about questions 1 through 9. They're only going to vote on the Alberta independence question. Why is it important that everybody vote on every single question?
Because every single question gives us an opportunity to send a message both to the Alberta government and to the federal government, the government of Canada, saying that, nope, we've had enough. This is what we're going to do. The other reason is because we don't actually know what the outcome is going to be of the referendum, to have a referendum on independence. We don't know. We won't know until those ballots are counted. And if the ballots are counted and the majority of Albertans say, no, you know what, we don't want that. I hope that's not the outcome, but that could be the outcome. It's going to be one of two outcomes. So if that's the outcome, we still have an obligation to protect what we have. And these other 9 questions will do that. So we have to answer all of them. It's really important to make sure that we do.
Excellent reasoning. Well, anything else we need to say about question 1?
Please vote yes.
I agree. Thanks so much.
All right. See you in the next one.
Okay.